Hello, this is w.i.t.c.h.aholic. That's my name because I talk a lot about witch on my channel, also other subjects. This video is about witch. Specifically, I want to write a witch reboot and have other fans help me because as much as we love this series, it was screwed over by Disney when it was being published, and now it's screwed over again with the reboot. Now, a reboot is a reboot, so it's telling the story differently, but it's still the same characters and basic story. This reboot, I liked certain elements, but as a whole, like, the story was not witch. It's just ridiculous. Seriously. Does anyone know what's going on with Disney? Like, why are they determined to ruin their properties? So, if Disney refuses to write a reboot that does it justice, I want to do it myself. But, because this franchise is so messy, I'd like, fans to give me the input. Of course, there'll still be a fan project. I want to post it on fanfiction.net, but, if anyone wants to draw a comic of it or anything, I love that. If you want to help me write it, I'm aiming for minimum 6 arcs. Not like retelling every arc. Things are gonna be like what I envision is that certain elements might not even be there, and other elements would be changed, and you know, um, put together. Like the second and third arc, right? For example, I'm thinking like to have the Narissa thing take much less time, so that maybe the second arc will then be half Narissa or less, and then start Arcanta. Or depending on how it goes, I might not really have Arcanta because I want to change how the Oracle, you know, thinks. His character, whew, just that is ridiculous. So obviously we changed how the Oracle thinks. We might not even have the Arcanta arc. But, there's just a lot of things, right? Just, the storyline of the arcs and then how to write it well and make it make sense. So I'd love for my fellow fans to give me input. Um, Also, I do have other stuff in life, obviously, so if anyone could, like, help me write it, um, then, that'd be appreciated. If not, I still plan on eventually doing it and posting it, and if you want to know, you could, write, ask me, on the comments and videos, or PM me at w.i.t.c.h.aholic on fanfiction.net. And I'll, eventually write and post it. It'll just take a long time. But anyway, this will probably be the first of a series because, again, there's so much to talk about. So, I want to be like general world building, as a whole, but like also the first arc and the characters of, the things that don't make sense and like how could we change it. Starting just like with Kandrakar and the magic system. Because this just doesn't make sense, like the whole thing, how Kandrakar is made. Like, right, we all know there's the Oracle and the Council. So it sounds like the Oracle is like the god of the universe, but then there's the Council, you know, um, you know, in the third one saying that no, he needs to go on trial, and there's apparently a rule that he cannot interfere, and it's like, okay, so what is this? And like, again, the congregation, we don't see anything. They just complain about the girl. Like, we don't really see Kendrick doing much. And again, like, why do they need the Guardians, really? You know? I mean, technically they're interfering by sending the Guardians, right? So, like, just all that doesn't make sense. Also, when it comes to the magic, right, we see the Guardians have the power of the elements, so it seems like the elements are like a big deal, and it's part of the magic of other characters, namely Phobos and Elion. We see they do elemental stuff, but like, if the Guardians have elemental powers, if it's such a big deal, then it should be like more, part of Kandrakar. It seems like the elements maybe are kind of gods also, but like we don't really see them have a big place, a big part of Kandrakar. Really, the only time they're really talked about is the fifth arc. So, like, what's the deal here? Also, as much as I love the girl's transformation, it just doesn't make sense. No other magic users have a transformation, so like, why this? And then also they wings, but they can't fly. So, I was thinking of also like the average magical girl outfit, like they're pretty, but they don't exactly do anything. I mean, after new power, right? So they get the Lamia, like the clues can like help fight, but like why not have it from the first arc or something? Also, why not like have it like more like armor that protects them? And also, the transformation is when they're full power. Why don't they just be at full power all the time? I was thinking like the transformation is they'll have their full power all the time, but the transformation is more like so people could recognize that they're the Guardians, and they also have like armor, you know, slash mechanical outfits that have wings to help them fly and like different functions. Maybe even like tool belts like Batman does. Um, like with the elements. But I have to work at the magic system because we also see that they have um, the secondary powers like telepathy, which is very useful and I like it, but doesn't really connect with the elements. And then also, like we see all the other characters that do magic, they could also do right other magic like telepathy. So it's like, what role do the elements play here exactly? So that's hard to figure out. Also, then we have like the nymphs. They were only in the special. I really like the idea of the nymphs. I was thinking also to have them more of a role, you know, and also maybe change the powers. Like you're changing the nymph of the elements, but then we have the elements of the life, sun, moon, and stars, I think. So, like, I was thinking if the elements are a big deal, then maybe each one would be a nymph of an element, and that's how we got the heart. And something happened for whatever reason, and then instead of the legend being about Shinjing and the dragons, it's about the nymphs, because they're the nymphs of the elements, so they're the. Which also, again, if we have the nymphs, have to figure out, okay, so are they're called nymphs, but, in the special they built Kandrakars, so, are they really more like gods? What is this? And then I was thinking either So they became the heart of Kanjakar, like their spirits are there, or they're each tied to each world, which is also has one like specific element, and that's why in the I think the ninth arc when we have the like weird thing with Mother Earth, maybe that could be right because that's a nymph. Each world a nymph was became tied to a place. And Dark Mother, was a nymph who became corrupted. That's why she's so powerful, even more powerful than the Oracle, right? Something. So, again, I love to hear your thoughts on what you think. How would you do it? I mean, I really want to do this, but I'm also trying to write my own book, and just getting the first draft out, is pretty hard. So, I'll see. I love, any input, whether it's ideas or, and if anyone wants to do that actual writing also, because, I want to write it, but then I don't know when it'll come out. So once we get, a basic outline and plot, if someone else wants to do the writing and posting, I don't mind, and we could, of course, it's a big deal, so I could still write some. Certainly, that's just, thoughts about, some of the world building, and then, of course, we have Metamore, how that connects. Just that. Like the portals. So, like, again, it doesn't make sense why portals will be appearing on Earth as well. So again, there must be some sort of connection, right? There's also the special, right? That Elion's, ancestor was asked by the Oracle to come to Metamore to help defeat the enemy. So like, cool, but why? Like why not someone from another world? Um, so that's something we have to figure out. Also, when it comes to other worlds, I just think it's weird when we have who knows how many worlds and no explanation. So, I was thinking of keeping it like the 5 main worlds, like Earth, Basileid, Metamor, Arcanta, Noon, Boreal, and each nymph, is tied to a world. Maybe like because they're really gods, they each made their own world, and went to live there or something. It makes sense. 5 worlds, 5 nymphs. Again, I have to like think more about this before I start writing, but that just makes more sense to me. And so maybe there's more of a connection between Earth and Metamor because something with the nymphs. Also, speaking of Earth, like we're constantly seeing like there's more magic. We even see like the government has this unit dedicated to finding out if there's magic, and it's like in the second arc, right, there is Jewel, right, and there's a water shade, and then there's a book in the library about elemental shades, and it's just like but this is like Earth, regular Earth people don't know about magic. I mean, come on. And then, of course, there's the fact that the parents don't know, which is common, but it's ridiculous. Especially because there's no reason given. Like why is gets awkward, but they should be able to tell their parents. Also, again, it's common that the protagonists in these types of stories are children, but like, it is so odd, to when you need soldiers effectively, you choose children. Like even adults, and they go to battle in the real world, they could get PTSD. So choosing children and then not training them in their magic, which is a whole other rant, that's such an odd choice. So for this reboot, it would make more sense if they're adults. You know, just because it's aimed at children doesn't mean the characters have to be children. They could be adults, right? I mean, I'm an adult, and any fans giving input and or helping me write will be adults. So probably a lot of you will want to make it more adult, but this is still like a children's franchise, right? So I'd want to keep it, child friendly, so all the children on fanfiction.net, could read it. And if this actually gets done and posted, then, we could write a sequel series about them when they're adults. And that could be, more mature. And who knows, a pipe dream, maybe if we could actually get this going and it's very talked about on the internet, maybe Disney will notice and like buy it, but and maybe make a show out of it or something. But of course, even if that does happen, right, then never know, they might ruin it. But again, I don't think they'll happen anyway. So again, I have some like vague thoughts in the back of my head, but I need a lot more help just how to put this together. And then of course there's just certain like characters, things, how to write the girls and their families, because I like some things in the cartoon, like how they handle the Elian story. So I wanna put some of the cartoon stuff in that I think is good, but I want to keep this as close to the comics as possible. So when it comes to the girls and the families, right, that'll be pretty much the same, but I like to make a few changes, like when it comes to the Vandoms, right, we don't really know about them or really other families, so I like to expand on that, have some more family members. I actually read a fan theory that Susan is Nerissa's daughter, and there is some resemblance between Susan and younger Nerissa. I think that's really cool. Um, and another thing, right, that's, very odd, like we don't know really why the girls were chosen. So make more sense if, they each have some connection to the old guardians. So I really want to have that, maybe like their parents are really in the know and it's a family thing. Again, world building wise, again, because it's just so odd, like these random girls from Earth are given magic powers to, well, we don't really know. From what Yanlin says in the first arc and the glimpse of ancient guardians in the ninth issue, it seems like the guardians' job is really just to close the portals, but our girls, get into all sorts of things later. So it would make more sense if they're like older and if they were like trained, in some kind of combat or something. So they're prepared, and they're each of them could be descended from a nymph or something, you know. That's why they're chosen. There could be other characters, like from Kandrakar, who are sent to Earth to help them. I mean, I like the idea of Matt being secretly from Kandrakar, but that needs to be integrated into the story better and explained. Which is another thing, like they're just 5 girls, right? So, we're talking about more than one or two worlds. Even if in the reboot we keep it only to 5 worlds, they're still the ones, going around, whenever there's something happening. So that doesn't make sense. How can only 5 people? So I'd like it like there are certain people like Matt and his family, like they're trained, to go along with them, to if they need backup or the girls just can't, so they're the substitutes, whatever. That would be cool. And then, there's certain things about the girls, like the Irma and Cornelia always fighting. It's funny, but it's like so random, you know. So that's just, bit of a ramble of things, need to think about, you know, to write this reboot. So I'd love to hear your thoughts, and hopefully we could start running this and posting it, and then talking about the next arcs. I'll see you later.